It's Monday, June 24th, 2024, and this is episode 312 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Mike, let's just get this out of the way very quickly so we don't spend too much time on it. Most of our listeners are from California. We said how last time at Hamul they had to go back to shuffling the cards every time, and that came down from gaming. And we assumed the same thing happened at Pechanga, but we got an email from listener Chad who said, no, they are still doing Vegas-style craps at Pechanga. That is, they're organizing the cards in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So who knows what's going on?
Right. Well, they're probably appealing it or something and figuring they can do it until
that's what I was
some
thinking,
ruling
maybe,
comes down.
Yeah. So I've been going out to Hamul quite a bit. Going back to the old policy, has that helped or hurt me? No, not really. But everybody loves my little cheat sheet cards.
Oh, yeah.
That shows what is 7 is. What's that? What's that? Everybody's asking, ooh, that's bro, you should make some for me. Oh. And of course, I get to yell out safe as loud as I can whenever it's not a 7, in case people don't know. So that's been pretty fun.
Yeah, that's fun. People get a kick out of that too. Safe.
Safe. It's as loud as can be. And safe, they love to hear that. And then when I don't say anything or under my breath, they just hear this, no. Then they...
Yeah.
I even do it when 7s are 7s. You know, when it lines up so that actually rolling a 7 on the dice is a 7, I'll still do it. Safe.
Yeah, and that's the funniest part. Comes up 6 too. Safe.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. You know, Mike, I don't think I told you this. Listener Andrew, remember Andrew who used to live out here in La Mesa? We'd go up to Harrah's.
Andrew,
Yeah, I met him at Hamul last week. Sherry and I went out there. Yeah, he was in town. He was vacationing.
Yeah, they vacation every year back in San Diego with the kids.
Yeah, we met at Hamul. The craps table was too crowded. It was like a Tuesday night. So we ended up just playing 3-card poker, and that went great. What made it great is the dealer wasn't making hands. You know, Andrew and I weren't really making hands either, every once in a while. But just the fact that the dealer either wouldn't qualify or would qualify with a queen high or king high, something like that, that's what made it good.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of side bet shaming from some players and the dealer a little bit. Because had we been making the side bets, we probably would have done a lot better. In fact, Andrew got a straight flush at one point. And, we weren't making the side bets, but whatever, we won. So that was a good thing. Yeah. So it was good to see Andrew, of course. And we'll have to get out to Arizona maybe one of these days, play something.
My dad always liked Andrew a lot. He even asked after Andrew moved to Arizona, how's Andrew doing? Is he playing any craps? Is he gambling out there? Yeah, he was always concerned for Andrew.
Yeah, really great guy. Well, Mike, we thought it might be fun to talk about people at the casino. Not just employees, but maybe even patrons. And what we expect when we go and behaviors we see and what we would like to see, that kind of thing. So why don't we get started? Let's start with casino employees. What do you think are some of the best traits for casino employees? Things that we really expect them, as a service industry, expect them to display.
Well, I think mostly is to be engaging and friendly.
You have to be kind of a people person. Yeah. Most of the casino employees are working with the public.
Right. And if you're not a people type person and you're just sitting there with a look on your face like, oh, I wish I could be anywhere but here.
Yeah.
It's just not a good experience for the gambler, right? Or the people at the table. They want somebody who's friendly, engaging, talking to them, making comments.
Let's talk about some of the specific roles at the casino. So let's talk about dealers. Those are kind of the obvious ones, the ones that are right there. Yeah, they definitely need to be people persons. I think they need not just be engaging, but I think they need to read the room, know their audience. Especially, if you're a single dealer, like at a table game, just dealing blackjack, something like that, you may have patrons there who are willing to engage and really like to talk. And then there are some who maybe don't. They just like to play their game. So a dealer needs to pick up on social cues, things like that. But I think they need to be positive. They need to seem like they want to be there, even if it's the last place they want to be.
Well, it's work for them, right?
Sure.
And, like all of us, when you're at work, Most of us don't hate it, but we'd rather be doing something else.
Sure,
if we could make a living, at playing golf or something, we'd rather be doing that, right? But it's just a fact of life. You got to go to work.
And
so
it can be hard. Most dealers are standing the whole time. Right. In some cases, maybe baccarat dealers, something like that, they get to sit, but usually they're standing. So it's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work. And I think what makes it really hard is when you get a customer who is upset because they've lost a lot or just not a nice person. I mean, some people, they could be winning and still not be nice. And that's kind of draining on the dealer. That's kind of puts you in a bad mood almost, right?
Yeah. We'll talk about patron behavior as well, but you're always going to get people who gamble angrily. Right? We've seen that where they're just never really happy, even though they're supposedly doing something they love. And of course, alcohol plays a big part in it too. You get somebody who's drunk. As a dealer, you need to develop kind of a thick skin to go along with.
You have to have a very thick skin. Because people will lay into you. I mean, they blame you for losing, right?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
The dealer has something
We've
to
seen
do
it
with
where, players will throw cards at dealers, right? And it's just...
I could just see you being a dealer, Mark. Somebody would get upset and blame you for, giving them 2 16s in a row or something. And you would just say, play your best blackjack.
Yeah. Play your best blackjack. The guys at poker night must drive them crazy because I am constantly saying, play your best poker. Play your best poker.
Yep.
I don't know why I do, because I don't want them to play their best poker, right? As a poker player.
Right. And because that saying that just causes them not to play their
that's
best
the other
poker.
thing. They don't take my advice, so.
Right. Yeah, they're not going to take your advice. They're like, oh, he's taunting us, and I'm going to show him.
Let's talk briefly, too, about specifically craps dealers. Craps dealers, I think they need to be a little bit different. It is a very social game. But I don't like when dealers are talking amongst themselves at the expense of communicating with the players or of even watching the game. And we've all been in that situation where they're going on about something private or whatever, and they're only
or somebody who took too long a break or some internal thing with the employees, right?
And I don't mind them bringing up those topics as long as it's, relatively quick. I've been on tables where they just go on, and it's almost like it's hard to get their attention. Oh, I'd like to bet the 6. Yeah.
Yeah, that is annoying. Well, anytime, any business, when employees are discussing the dirty laundry, it's just not a pleasant experience for the customer, right? You don't want to hear that. You want to just play your game.
Or even if they're talking about sports or something. I mean, that's fine. But again, if it's at the expense of the game, engage with the players.
And sometimes I think that some dealers, they get a little testy, if you will, with newbies who are putting their bet down and saying, oh, I want an H. And the guy's trying to do something else, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
And then you'll hear him say something, sir, can you just wait? Just put your money, things like that. Yeah. I think you have to be a little more patient. You just have to say, okay, just say, okay.
Well, let's talk about newbies for a second, kind of break away, and then we'll get back to specific roles at the casino. I think it's important to treat new players very well and be patient. Because
be very patient.
Especially if craps or even, some carnival games, even blackjack. There are some players who don't know maybe the hand gestures, right? For blackjack, things like that.
Right. In craps, they don't know when to bet.
Right.
Well, do I do it now? They don't even know when we're coming out, or they're trying to learn.
I've seen dealers who see newbies and almost ignore them. Or they're kind of angry that they're playing. No, you can spot a newbie and maybe say, oh, have you played this before? Oh, your odds on the 5 and 9 need to be even. Oh, don't bet on the pass line. There's already a point. Instead, place the point. Give them advice. And if you're a patron, also have patience with newbies.
Right.
Right. I know I'm guilty of this too. I see somebody come up to the game, they're slowing the game down because they don't know what they're doing. And, but really it's up to patrons too, to show new players, novice
I'll tell you what,
patience.
I have less problem with newbies who are slowing the game down, way less of a problem than I have with players who know what they're doing and are slowing the game down by making odd bets or
wait until the dice are out before throwing
and then
in
they
money
yell
in the middle,
something or their hands are down there trying to grab something. the odd betting is what I hate. The guy who's constantly making the dealer work. Go up to 42. 42 hits. Oh, go back to 36. I mean, stuff like that.
Well, okay. All right. Look, play the way you want to play. I'm not going to blame somebody for playing that way. I will blame them for not making their bets when the dice are in the middle. And things like that. But
yeah, I know, but it gets annoying. It's almost like they're doing it on purpose.
Okay. I don't know about that. Maybe there are cases like that. But what are we expecting of employees? What are we expecting of patrons? I've been at a table where a guy has this system where, okay, when this hit, take all my inside bets up 1 unit.
Yeah, right.
And it's maybe some of these weird amounts that are harder to figure out. Hey, if you want to play that way, that's fine. I won't criticize that. But it's more, like you said, if it's almost seems like it's intentional trying to slow down the game.
Right. And especially if it's a busy table with a lot going on. And the dealer doesn't even know, right? Every time he has to figure out what's this guy doing.
If the dealer can't pick up on it. Of course we want competent dealers. And you're going to rise to the highest level of your competency, right? There's some people who just, aren't as good at math or aren't as good at handling the chips. That's another thing, but it's really intention is what I'm looking at more than anything. And getting back to newbies too, I think it's always a good idea if you are a newbie to let the dealers know that you are a newbie, because if you go in and you are trying to look like you know what you're doing, you're going to make mistakes. I mean, we all did when we first started playing. So it's better to kind of be upfront, because I think the dealers will treat you a little better.
That's just life in general, right?
Sure.
It's better if you let people know, I don't have a clue. This is what's going on. I don't have a clue. Or, it just makes life easier for you.
It's definitely. Now, what about stick persons, Dr. Mike? What do you like in a stick person? What do you not like?
Well, the first thing I like is when they can be understood when they make their call.
That is so
I hate
true.
it when, they say something and you hear 4 and then it was 10 or something. You're like, well, that didn't sound like, or they mumble or, they're quiet.
Yeah,
They need
to be able to project. I think that happens quite a bit. Is what was the call? What? And even sometimes the base dealers have to ask, what was that? So
Well, there's so many tables where you're on one side. I can't see the dice on the other side. They're either shadows or it's too far away or it's turned, and you're sitting there and then the guy says something you don't even understand. You have to ask your dealer, what was the call?
Yeah, clear and loud enough to hear. I think that is the most important thing. I would also say I don't want a stick person to move the game too fast. Sometimes you get into a situation where he's sending the dice and a dealer on one side hasn't even completed all the bets. So don't go too fast. Yes, they want a fast game. The casino wants a fast game, but don't go too fast. I love funny calls. You constantly hear new ones you've never heard before. So, when they're making calls on the numbers, that kind of thing. Keep them entertained. Yeah, they're hustling for some of the higher house percentage bets. That's their job too. Who's on the hard 6, things like that. So, I do want them talkative. I do want to be able to understand them. I want to know what each role is.
Right.
What about the box? This is a unique role in the casino, and not every craps table has a dedicated box person. But when they do, what do you like to see from a box?
Just a cheery face.
Yeah, but you that's true. It's almost like some boxes think, okay, the dealers are the ones who are dealing with the public. I don't need to be as friendly, or I'm all business here.
Yeah, I'm all business. There's no need for that, because the casino's going to win. It's not their money anyway.
Yeah.
But some of them get, almost offended, right?
The box, it's important for them to be as much a people person as the dealers. And their job,
just as patient.
Their job is to make sure that the game is running properly. So yes, they're watching to make sure payouts are correct. Whether it's watching out for the casino or watching out for the player, right? It has to be correct. Are the dealers doing everything? Is there anything shady going on? They're the ones who check the dice when they go off the table, things like that. But it really helps when a box is just as pleasant as the dealers.
Right. And looks like they're somewhat happy when you're winning.
Yeah.
And they're a little sad when you're losing. You'll see some boxes after 2 or 3 bad shooters say, give me the dice, and they shake them up or something. They're obviously whether they are or not, they're implying that they're on your side.
Yeah. Same with the floor or the pit boss, right? Now, again, they're not watching a single game. They're usually moving around and being in charge of a lot of different games. But we want them to be friendly too. Oh, glad you're here. Oh, do you have a card? Oh, good luck.
Yeah.
That
good
kind
luck,
of thing.
yeah.
When you're cashing out, hey, you made a killing. Way to go. Yeah.
I always like the pit or the box person who, when they return your card, they just don't throw it to you. They actually come around the table and hand it to you.
That is nice. Yeah.
And they say something like, good luck, Mike. If you need anything, let me know.
We see that a lot at Hamul. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Rather than just giving it back to the dealer and they throw it at you. Just, hey, good. Glad you're here. How about cocktail servers, Mike? What are you looking for there?
Well, frequency that they come around.
Now, sometimes the workload that's piled on them is kind of hard to handle, right? They've been assigned too many tables. But, frequency, if they're able to do it, that is great.
Yeah,
right?
Frequency is nice. And then just getting things right. I had an instance not too long ago where I ordered a hot tea, and that girl came back about 3 times without the hot tea.
Uh-huh.
And the first time she's giving the drink to the guy next to me, and I looked at her and said, my hot tea? And she said, oh, yeah, I'll get that. Then she came back and took more orders and even mentioned, oh, yeah, hot tea. Yeah, it's coming. And then she came back without the hot tea. So it took like 3 times. And when she finally got it, I gave her my usual $5 tip, but I kept thinking, I shouldn't even tip her. That was like 40 minutes ago that I ordered that.
Yeah, so they need to have some accuracy. They need to have some wait staff experience or talent, I guess I should say, like a waiter or a waitress might have. And friendly.
Doesn't hurt if they're, give you a big smile and kind of friendly too. Yeah. I like that.
How about cashiers, right? The ones working at the cage.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different beast.
Well, what do you think? What's important there? They need to have math skills. They need to be able to handle the chips. It seems like an obvious thing to say, but we've been to plenty of cages where the cashiers aren't very good at handling money.
They fumble it around or they come up with the wrong number. It's hard to know if they're new or they're not, but some of them are so quick. They boom, 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 you're out of there. And other ones, it seems like, oh my God, this is taking forever. I'm cashing out $230. How hard is that?
Yeah. And with everything else we said, they need to be pleasant and maybe be careful about saying things like, oh, you did pretty well, because you don't know how much we bought in for, right? There have been plenty of times, especially you, Dr. Mike, where you're cashing in for huge amounts, but you lost at the table.
Right. I hate it when they just assume that. Now, a good cashier will say something, oh, was this good?
Yeah, I've had that where they actually ask, oh, did you end up winning? And then if you say no, then they just kind of, oh, that's too bad. Or great, good to hear. Yeah, that is nice. That is nice.
That's the way to approach that, not just to say, oh, it was a good night. No, I lost a couple thousand.
Yeah. How about the check-in desk, Mike, when you're checking in? Any special skills or qualities that the people behind the desk are?
I just like it if they're fast and efficient.
They really know what they're doing,
Yeah, just get you in and out, because I don't want to spend too much time at the checkout desk.
Yeah.
It is nice if you go to like at Caesars, you go to the 7-star.
Yeah, if you've got a higher tier
or something. Then they ask you some stuff like, oh, is there anything we can get you? Do you want to make any reservations? Stuff like that. I don't expect that if you're just checking into a regular room, but
and
it is nice.
It is. Oh, can I get you some water? Or, do you need any help finding? Have you been here before? Do you know where the elevators are? Just questions like that. Now, a lot of the check-in, check-out process is automated now. You can just go to a kiosk. So you may not need as much of that staff to handle that, but they still have to have those qualities.
I always think back to Adam a long time ago saying the story about the lady who was in the bunker.
Uh-huh.
I love that. I always think about that.
The bunker.
Oh, yeah, the bunker.
Boy, you got long-time listeners back when he was Vegas fanboy, talking about the bunker. I think it was at MGM Grand. Oh, yeah, I got a room in the bunker.
The bunker.
Finally, Mike, what about hosts? What do you want from a host?
I like a host that stops by and says hi, but doesn't linger too long.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you doing? Can I get you anything? Maybe something like, oh, we've got this coming up if you're interested.
Yeah.
And then moves on. I don't want somebody having a long conversation with me.
Okay, now again, that comes down to reading the room, right? Maybe there's somebody who wants to talk a long time to their host about, I saw this.
Well, if you're in the middle of playing, they always seem to come up like you're in the middle of a hand. You're trying to make bets and keep track of what's going on.
Again, they need to be aware of that too. Now, if they've got a patron who actually steps away from the table, wants to have a conversation, that's one thing. But I like it when hosts are able to say, hey, we've got a tournament coming up. We didn't send a flyer out, but I can get you in. Is there anything else I can do for you? Hosts, aside from coming up to you when you're playing, they need to be very quick in responding. If you contact them via social media, texting, email, whatever, a phone call, they need to get back to you real soon. And they're good and bad hosts, right? They're hosts who just,
it depends also how familiar you are with them. If you go to a place regularly and this person's been your host for years, you're going to get better service, obviously.
Yeah, and I think there was some story, I may be getting some of this wrong, but, hey, Mike, is there anything I can do for you? Oh, actually, I need to get a room for this weekend. And they say, okay, head on over to check-in and, they'll be able to see if there's anything available. Well, what? You're my host. You just asked me if there's anything you can do for me. That's what you should be able to do. So hosts need to kind of go above and beyond, do things that, yes, you could do on your own, but it's just a nice convenience if they do it for you.
Yeah, and it's for them, it's just a phone call over to the desk, right?
Right, maybe it is, right. Yeah. Mike, what about patrons? What makes a good casino patron? Or, maybe what makes bad casino patrons? But
that's a loaded question.
It definitely is, sure.
But for me, somebody who doesn't cause any issues. They're not arguing, they're not overly drunk, they're not abusive to the dealers. They're just gamble, they're just there.
They're not abusive to the dealers. They're not abusive to other players. They don't berate other players for the way that they're playing.
And you can be drunk. Someone could be really drunk, and that's okay as long as they're not doing stupid stuff, right? Like you've drank a lot and you're talking loud or something. I have no problem with that. But you're really drunk and you pick up the dice and throw them backwards over your head, and they go off the table. Then it's kind of like, okay. That's enough.
So treat your dealers well. Don't berate other players for the way that they play. So don't berate the players. Don't berate the player who hit a 16 against a dealer's 5. Things like that. Yeah, it's the wrong move, but people should be able to play however they like.
It basically boils down to mind your own business.
I guess you're right. It's not your business. Sure.
You always have the ability to walk away.
I think the way that we handle mistakes at the casino is important because mistakes are going to happen and mistakes against us are going to happen. And I know there are some people who immediately fly off the handle when really all it would take is just some rational discussion to find out what happened. So kind of be patient when something goes wrong. I was saying last week, right? They almost shorted me $1,000.
Right.
when I was cashing out. Now I could see some people flipping out, right? $1,000. That's
at one time they gave you 100 less when you bought in.
Yeah.
And they were real good about when you pointed it out to say, oh, yeah, okay.
Well, that's a great example, Mike, because originally they were saying, no, we didn't make a mistake. You've counted it wrong, Mark. And so I kind of took a pause. I didn't think I did, but, I didn't fly off the handle. I took a second, looked it over again. It's like, no, guys, it's really here. Let me show you, and kind of, did it. And then,
you didn't go crazy or anything. They didn't go crazy. They thought, oh yeah, no, it's right. Because that probably happens a lot with customers. Like, oh wait, I don't think I got the right amount here, and they forgot that they, made a bet. It was taken out already or something like that, and they go crazy, which just aggravates the pit, and it just builds on itself. Yeah. So if people can just stay calm and, get it figured out.
We're all there to have a good time, and that's basically what it comes down to. I don't want to make this seem like Dr. Mike and I are telling you how to act at a casino, all right? Especially when it comes to how you want to gamble, right? Yeah, we kind of make fun of people, maybe if they're making what we consider a bad bet. But ultimately, that's up to you. And some people know they're making a bad bet, and that's the way they like to gamble, and that's fine.
Right.
It's more about treating people well in an environment where things are happening fast and for real money, and just kind of be aware of that.
Yeah, whenever money's involved, because you don't know what that person, they just lost $1,000. You don't know if that's like dropping a penny to them or if that's like, okay, I can't make my house payment.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, you got to really go slow in how you approach people.
Let's kind of segue into some things that we witnessed recently and how it was handled, etc.
I think these are examples of bad and good things.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. So we were in Blackhawk and we were at Monarch, and a player at the other end of the table threw in $50 and said 2-3. So they immediately put his 2 green chips on the hoppin' 5, 2-3. Okay, so, it's good. It's out there. The dice are rolled. It came up ace deuce, 3. And they were taking his bet off of the hop area. And he said, no, wait a minute. That was a 3. I bet 2-3. His intent, according to him, was he wanted a bet on the 2 and a bet on the 3. So a lot is going on as they're trying to figure this out. For example, they're saying, well, hey, didn't you see where we put your bet? And this gets back to, make sure you know where your money is and how much it is.
Right.
And he claimed that he just thought that's where you put the money if somebody's betting on the 2 and the 3. Now, that seems ludicrous, but again, we don't know his level of sophistication at this game.
It seemed to me, though, that his sophistication level was high and that he knew what he was doing. And it was just the perfect opportunity, right?
It might have been an angle shoot. I felt the other way. I thought he really didn't know what he was doing.
I don't know.
You could be right. It could have been an angle shoot. Absolutely. It could have been an angle shoot.
Either way, the pit handled it appropriately.
I think that he did too. Now, the pit came over, and this didn't necessarily satisfy the player. But after a long discussion, everybody at the table, aside from this player, agreed that if we heard 2-3 and money coming to the table, we would assume that's a hot bet on 2-3. He didn't say 2 and 3. He didn't say bet on aces and ace deuce.
No, he said
nothing.
2-3.
He said 2-3, and they put it in the hop area. And for those unfamiliar, a hop is a 1-roll bet. A bet basically that the next roll is literally going to be 2-3 on the dice.
Of course, we can't know this, Mark, but I would have loved to see what would have happened if 5 came up 2-3.
Oh, he would have gotten paid, and that would have been the end of it.
He wouldn't have said anything.
No, of course he wouldn't have said anything.
Oh, no, that was meant to be a 2 and a 3.
2 and a 3, I lost. Yeah, of course not. Okay, so the pit came over. He thought about it. He didn't just make a snap judgment. He thought about it, and he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to take your bet down as a losing hop bet, but we're also not going to pay you as if you won the bet on the 3. So you can have your money back. We can make the bet for you right now on aces and ace deuce. That's the decision. I thought that was a fair decision because then you are preventing somebody who is angle shooting from getting away with it. But at the same time, you're not punishing maybe an ignorant player who thought he was betting on 2-3 and was placed in the wrong spot, and they just take his money. So I thought that was a good decision. I think that's an example of a box person making a good decision for the game.
I agree. Yeah. That was a good decision. It worked out okay. The guy left shortly after that, and then I saw him playing roulette, and then he went and played blackjack. So, I don't know if he was angle shooting or not, but it just seemed to me like he knew more.
And maybe he did, Mike. Maybe that's something he pulls at every casino he goes to once.
Right.
He says, I'm going to bet 2-3, and that way I'm going to win if 5 comes up 2-3, or if a 2 or a 3 is rolled, if I can argue my case successfully. So, yeah.
Right. Who knows?
Yeah. Now, you said something happened to you recently at Diamond Joe Worth.
Down at Diamond Joe Worth. We were playing. The table was fairly busy. Well, this man and woman walk up, and I was next to the stick. They took the position on my side next to the dealer in the corner there.
Okay, and they were standing next to each other.
Standing right next to each other.
Okay, so they weren't trying to... I heard some of your story. That's why I'm asking these questions up front. They weren't trying to act like they didn't know each other.
Oh, no.
Okay.
They were obviously husband and wife.
Okay.
And he bought in for $500. He got his chips. Then she bought in for $500 and got her chips. And what they were doing was on the come out, he would put a quarter down for don't pass, and she would put $40 on the pass line.
Okay.
So let's say a point of 6 is made.
Mm-hmm.
His quarter went up to the 6. He never took odds. And then before the next roll, he put another quarter on the don't come. So he always had a quarter.
So he had a quarter out there. Don't pass or don't come.
Roll.
He had,
right.
Okay.
A quarter only every single time.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes he'd get 3 or 4 numbers covered.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it'd go up to a 6. 6 would be rolled again and come down, but his next bet would go back up to 6.
Right.
He always had one up there.
Okay.
And she had her $40 line bet, and let's say a 6 was rolled. His don't come bet would go up to the 6, and then she would ask for a $24 6.
Okay.
So if it was the point on the come out, she just kept the 40 on the line, no odds.
Yeah.
But if it was like the second roll and it went up, she would get a $24 6.
Okay.
And if it was a 5 or 9, she would take a $15 5 or 9.
Okay.
And 4 or 10, she'd take a $15 4 or 10.
Okay. So they're kind of, hedging each other, whatever. It seems kind of dull. But
it's funny because like she has 24 and a 6. If 6 comes up, she wins 28.
Yeah.
He loses his quarter. They make $3. His don't come bet goes back on 6. She leaves her 24 there.
Right. And if a 7 is rolled, she only loses 24. He wins 25. So it's $1 net profit. Yeah. Okay. So
they're thinking either way, they're going to make a net profit.
Right. Ignoring naturals. Right. For 2, 3, 7, 11, 12. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what killed them really is that, there were some 2s and 3s on the come out. She'd lose 40. He'd win a quarter.
Yeah.
So there's a $15 difference there. Well, that takes a lot of 6s or other numbers to make up the difference.
Right. And if a 12 comes up, if it's bar 12, which I assume it is Diamond Joe Worth, then, she loses and he just pushes. And so, it's, it's not foolproof, but okay. I get a sense of what they're trying to do.
And it's pretty obvious what they were doing, right?
Sure.
But they acted like they didn't know how to play. So this is the part that bothered me is they did this right off the bat. But then they were asking the dealer, well, can I do this? Or what can I do? They were asking questions like somebody who didn't know how to play. But she knew how to bet 24 against his 25. She didn't say, oh, it's 15. Can I put 15? They knew what they were doing.
Okay.
But they were pretending like they didn't. The guy said something like, well, can I take my bets down? And the dealer said, oh, yeah, at any time. You can take the don't down. And he said, okay. But he never did that. And she asked, what about mine? Oh, no, yours is a contract bet. Once you're on the line, you're on the line. But up here, if you place a number, you can take that down anytime you want to. Oh, okay. Never did that. What they were doing was, and they didn't do it the first shooter or even the second shooter, but about the third shooter in, she would bet 40. Her husband would bet a quarter. If the point was 6 or 8, she would leave the 40 out there. But if it was 4, 5, 9, or 10, she would wait till the dealer was looking like at the middle of a table, and then she would reach down and pull her quarter out from underneath the 3 red chips.
Oh, okay. So they were cheating.
They were cheating, yeah.
Okay.
And I saw her do it about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And the dealer, he was a guy who was, a veteran, right? But he's busy and he's looking at other stuff, and I'm betting come bets with odds and all this and that. And they went to a busy table and, crowded in over there. They didn't go to an empty table because then, everyone's watching them, right? So this was their game. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching it and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get in a fight with them, right? If I just blatantly said, hey, you can't do that.
Right. So the way that you're observing this is, to you, it looks like they're pretending like they don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
So if maybe she gets caught taking the money away, she can plead ignorance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and that's what happened.
Okay.
Kind of towards just before they bought out, a new dealer came. And he wasn't even looking. She got away with it, but he turned around and he looked. He said, oh, no, you had 40. And she said, oh, I took it. And he said, oh, no, you can't do that. Oh, I didn't understand what the other dealer was saying, she said.
Okay.
So she put it back. But as soon as that person sevened out, they left.
That was their cue to leave. Okay. Yeah. All right. There you go.
So they left, and I said to the boxman who's sitting there and the dealers, I said, you know what they were doing? He said, oh, yeah, I saw it from the very beginning.
That they were cheating?
Well, I said, you knew they were doing the do-we-don't thing. He said, oh, yeah. I said, did you see her pull the quarter? He said, yeah, I saw it a couple times.
What? No, wait a minute, Mike. That somebody's cheating at a table and the boxman doesn't speak up?
He said he didn't say anything because they weren't going to take him for any money anyway. He said, yeah, the way they were playing, I knew we weren't going to win or lose any much. So I knew what they were doing, and I just let it go so there wouldn't be a big controversy. That's what he said.
I understand him saying that about the do-we-don't, but not about pulling money off the
table.
That doesn't ring true to me, Dr. Mike. I'm not saying this didn't happen, but...
No, this is what he said, and I'm thinking, oh, he's just covering for the fact that they missed that.
A good boxman, we were talking about the responsibilities. If they see, oh, no, you paid him $1 too much, or no, you shorted him $1, it gets down to that. That is their responsibility. If somebody's cheating or, doing something they didn't know they weren't supposed to do, they should be speaking up immediately.
Yeah. Well, and she was close to the dealer in that corner. So when the dealer's like leaning over or something, it's hard for the boxman to see.
You just said the boxman witnessed it, Mike.
He said he witnessed it. Whether he saw it or not, I don't know. Yeah. I think he was trying to cover the fact like, oh, I missed that. And he's not going to say, oh, I missed that. He just said, oh, yeah, we know.
Okay, I see what you're saying is that he said he saw it because he wants to save face with you, showing you what a good boxman he is.
Right.
But in fact, he didn't really see it.
No,
and so that's why he didn't speak up at the time.
Yeah, because they would have said something. I mean, because she did it 4 times. I saw at least 4 of them.
Okay.
And maybe she did it more. I don't know, because, I'm busy with my bets too.
All right.
So a lot of times I didn't notice. Their system kind of got hurt a few times when, like, the point was made and she had taken the quarter off. And so they only got paid 15.
Right.
But
sure.
He lost 25.
Right.
So it was like 2 or 3 times that happened too.
All right.
But the thing is I don't like people who are doing that. You're talking about bad behavior and stuff. It's just disruptive, right? That could have led to a big problem.
Doing what? The cheating or the do-we-don't?
No, the cheating.
Of course. Yeah.
If I had said something right away, like, oh, no, you can't do that, the husband might have got mad at me, or he might have gotten in an argument with a stick, or, who knows what
I know
exactly
happened, what you're
right?
saying. I'm not blaming you for not saying anything, although if you did call attention to it, again, I didn't know we couldn't do that. What are they going to say? Shut up. We're trying to cheat.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to beat you up.
Well, but the thing is, it's not my business. So, the boxman didn't say anything. So I just, okay, if they're not going to say anything, and the dealer wasn't seeing it. I know he wasn't, because she waited till his attention was diverted.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, who knows what their scam was, or what they were doing, or maybe I'm way off. Maybe it was an honest mistake. She really didn't know.
Yeah, if a couple is new to the game, why would they be playing that way? Why wouldn't they both be playing the same way, right?
Right. Yeah. And why would the math work out so well? Yeah. Anyway, those are the patrons I don't like, because
the cheating.
They're potentially problems.
For sure.
And I don't care about the cheating. I'm more concerned with keeping the game going. Because I'm thinking to myself, oh, this could lead into some big argument, and they got to go check.
All right. That's the perfect way to wrap up that story on that note. Thank you, Dr. Mike. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. You can bet on that.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, we do have a couple voicemails here. First up is Mark.
Hey, Dr. Mike and Mark. This is Mark in Florida. I've listened to you guys a long time and hope to meet you one day. I think you guys do a really good podcast. I enjoy it. A little story about my brother and I. We live 1,000 miles apart. He's in Texas. I'm in Florida. We take a yearly trip out to Vegas and play golf while we're out there and stay for a week. We've been doing this for almost 25 years. And about in our 3rd year or so, we went downtown and we're at the Golden Nugget, played there for a while. And when my brother got home, he realized he came home with a $5 chip. And so this was a running joke with us for quite a while. I have to get back to the Golden Nugget, cash in that chip. In the meantime, he put it in his golf bag, and used that chip as a ball marker. Then maybe about 6-7 years ago, we did go downtown, and he was complaining that he had lost the chip. He said, "Oh, I lost that $5. I've been meaning to cash that in for years." I said, "Hey, you got much more than $5 value out of that, Jim. You got to see that ball marker every time you played golf. It was a chip from the Golden Nugget, and it reminded you of good times in Las Vegas. So you got a lot more value than $5 on that." So just wanted to share that little nugget with you. It was more of a souvenir than anything else, and I think any of your avid golfers out there might want to consider that. Take a chip from your, doesn't have to be a big chip, but a $1, $5 chip from your favorite casino and use it as your ball marker and bring back memories every time you're out there on the golf course. Okay, thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
Yeah, be a good conversation starter, too. You're out there on the links with your friends. Use a big one, like $100.
Yeah, you throw down a $500 chip as a ball marker.
Oh, this is just a fake chip? No, this is a real chip from Wynn.
Nah, it's $500.
You know what, Mark, what you should do is replace the $5 chip. Like at some point, get one from Golden Nugget, throw it in your brother's golf bag. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, there you go.
How come it looks so new?
You know what? I guarantee you can find an old one at the Golden Nugget.
That would be, yeah, that's true too. Or better,
just buy in. You can probably find one from the 70s.
Better yet, buy like $100 worth, like 20 red ones, and then just have it keep showing up at different places. Oh, Jim, I found your chip. Look here. It's under this cocktail glass here at this bar.
If you go to visit him or something at the house, just hide a few around the house.
I found your chip. All right. Let's hear from our friend Bert.
Mark, Dr. Mike, it's Bert from Virginia again. Just want to give you a quick trip report. My wife and I took a trip up to Northern Virginia. We positioned ourselves in a little place called Tyson's. The good thing about Tyson's, it is 45 minutes from MGM National Harbor and 45 minutes from Hollywood and Charlestown, West Virginia. So we were up there for a couple of days. So we spent Saturday night at MGM National Harbor, and Sunday night we went over to Charlestown and hung out there. Good thing about MGM now, after COVID, they had $25 minimum tables up to $100 tables on any weekend night. On this Saturday night, they had about 6 tables open. Every single table was $25. But what I noticed is they added 2 crapless tables now. So I'm not sure if that balances out the scales. You guys would know more than I do. Does crapless give the casino an edge where they don't have to bump up the limits to $50 and $100? I'm not sure, but they had 2 crapless tables open. Every table had a nice spread of players on it. There were no empty tables, so that's the good thing, I guess, about having them all at the same dollar amount. I played a little bit at the $25 amount, didn't really hit anything, but it was just interesting to see that they're kind of balancing out a little bit. On Sunday night, we went over to Hollywood, to Charlestown, and they only had 2 crap tables open pretty much any time I've been there. They had one table that was $15 and one table that was $25. And just like normal, the $15 table was packed. $25 table was completely empty with all the dealers just hanging around, chatting with each other, and everybody's waiting to play on the $15 table. So I didn't even play there. I was kind of low on the bankroll and was hoping to play at $15 over there. So otherwise, you know, it's interesting to contrast Hollywood, Charlestown, super smoky, a lot of smokers walking through there. MGM in Maryland, you can't smoke in casinos. I mean, there's little smoking areas, but you can't just smoke at the tables and at the games. So it's a very refreshing thing to be able to, you know, gamble without someone smoking you out by coming to sit beside you or stand beside you at a table. So overall, it's a good weekend. I'm glad we did that. Got a trip to AC planned next month. Looking forward to that. And in Vegas later on this summer. Hope you guys are doing well. Talk to you soon.
All right. Well, good luck, Bert. Yeah. One of the big selling points for Blackhawk was all the casinos were non-smoking. I mean, we noticed it.
Yeah. Well, it is nice when, like you said, it just looks cleaner.
It seems cleaner, whether it is or not. Yeah. Right? It's just the smell, just when you go in.
Right. And MGM, if it's the same as when I was there, National Harbor, the craps tables were an area where there was a lot of room.
Okay. That's nice.
It was kind of wide open. You know, it's not crammed in some corner.
Kind of like Bellagio?
You know? Yeah, kind of like Bellagio, right. Yeah. There's not, you know, some slot machine right behind you, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, Bert, casinos are definitely bringing in Crapless Craps tables because I'm assuming they make more money based on the way people play. Whether or not the casinos are consciously thinking, okay, we don't have to have the really high limits now on those tables and other tables, I don't know about that. I think it's more, let's bring them in, we'll make more money. And in a case like MGM National Harbor, maybe just having every table 25, they found their sweet point. They found that maybe if they have a $50 table and a $100 table, then nobody's coming. And I don't know, but that's my guess.
Well, I mean, it does make sense. If you can fill up all the 25s, and if you had a $50 or $100 table and you got two people playing, you got 4 dealers dedicated to that table.
There have been arguments made where if you've got like a $10 table open and it's full, and you've got a $25 table there and there are only 2 players there, the casino is going to make more money at that $25 table. Now, maybe when you get into some higher amounts, that concept isn't true anymore. Like you get to a $100 table, well, a single guy at a $100 table, you're not making as much as you would at, say, 3 guys at a $25 table. Anyway, again, just speculation.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's figured out, well, this is the best thing to do.
Oh, yeah. They always do the right thing, those casinos, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, they have actuaries.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the good ones do.
Yeah, I mean, they should, right?
Yeah, they absolutely should.
That's what we need, an actuary. I need an actuary for my life.
For your life. Yeah, not for your gambling, just your life.
Just to figure everything out, yeah.
That's right. Dr. Mike, maybe don't go outside right now. It's blizzard.
Yep.
I'm saying.
There's a lightning storm. Maybe you should stay in.
I can't tell you exactly what will happen, but I can give you some options. All right. Well, when this episode drops, I'm going to be in Las Vegas for 360 Vegas vacation. Dr. Mike, any chance you'll join me? You're going to hop on a flight on Saturday? You're not in school?
No,
nothing?
No chance.
All right. So hope to see you all there. That will do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations from Brian and Sarah and from Josh. Thank you very much. We also got a donation from listeners Thomas and Colleen. Karma donation for an upcoming trip to Vegas to see Dead and Company at the Sphere and hopefully do a little gambling before and after the show. Thank you guys for all you do, Thomas and Colleen. Well, enjoy that show. The Sphere is great. Yes. They actually contacted me and wondered if we were going to cross paths. They're leaving on Saturday. I'm actually getting in late Saturday night, so we're not going to be able to meet up, but hopefully you guys have a great trip. Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet On That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at youcanbetonthat. And on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. What do you got for us here, Dr. Mike?
Well, Mark, basketball's over. Hockey is almost over.
At least
There's a
one more
tomorrow.
Game. Yep.
Yeah. And then if Edmonton wins that, then it goes to Monday night.
Yeah. Now, you can tell we're recording this on a Thursday. So just FYI, when this drops, you'll know more about the hockey situation than we do.
Right. And I'm hoping that on Monday, the game's tied at the end of regulation.
Ah, okay. You want
and then we go into sudden death overtime.
Yeah.
Most exciting thing, especially if it's a game 7.
Yeah.
Sudden death overtime.
Especially in hockey, where it's just boom, boom, boom.
Boom,
right?
boom. Yeah. Things happen so fast. But anyway, basketball was a little disappointing.
It's interesting that in both sports, the first 3 games, the favorite team dominated. And then in the 4th games, the underdogs just blew them away.
Yeah.
Right, huge. In basketball, it switched back.
The 5th game, it switched back.
Hockey's a little different, but yeah.
So anyway, I'm enjoying that. And then baseball is, baseball.
Yep.
And you had a good day yesterday. Betty.
Oh, it's sports. Yeah, finally had a good sports day. Thank you for acknowledging that, Dr. Mike. I appreciate it.
Well, it helps.
Yeah.
So, that's it. That's all that's going on. Other than that, I've just been doing some house repairs and enjoying the easy life.
The easy life. All right. It's not too hot there yet?
Oh, no.
Good.
I think the hottest we've gotten is like 80 degrees.
Okay, but you're not, sweltering under these heat waves that some of the other country has. Yeah.
No, we're kind of in a sweet spot that
Good.
It didn't get too hot. Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Good night.
Come on, my card only has a 1 in 52 chance of getting picked anyway.
How did you know that? You're like Rain Man. Quick, how many toothpicks are on the ground?
0.
You need to go to Vegas.